tell me, I've seen a lot of videos of people, riding around in headsets and in Teslas, and one of the guys from the studio mentioned he saw someone yesterday on a motorcycle in the headset, right? So, and I'm seeing a lot of product, reviews of the technology. But I'm really curious about, like I can say this, when I first picked it up, I was really excited about the possibilities of content creation and storytelling, right? And I love location-based experiences, right? Like when we did POV at Tribeca, and we did American Black Film Festival back in the days with A Little Love. I really, really love cross-platform storytelling. And I'm curious from you, like, where do you see the opportunity outside of just the tech? But tell me about your experience first, your personal experience first.
But to the question, Alton asked about, this particular type of device, and you're seeing people out there in the world who are riding in Teslas and motorcycles, which is it's crazy to me because people are doing it or feel confident to do it with this headset, but you don't see them doing that with a Meta Quest. And it's kind of like, what is the thinking there? Like, why would you feel more confident that Apple, if you're trying to go on a tier that it's a more dedicated or device, well, you really don't know that yet because you just got it out the box and you're trying to do things that could potentially put yourself in danger. So I wouldn't technically go down the cyberpunk route right away. Like I would probably take a break and pause on that. But the device is mainly to be used within room space. Technically we could walk around this whole building. I've taken it on an elevator, going to another floor, come back down. My stuff is still here digitally that I placed in the screen in a space. So when it comes to, I guess there's a twofold path when it comes to developers versus, creating content.
That's what I'm interested in that, because there's a lot of product videos and demos all over the internet, right? But I love speaking to creators and developers because that's the space that I sit in storytelling. So I'm curious from your perspective, right? Wearing both of those hats, right? From the technical side and artistic side. How do you see this device, this technology, being something that gets you excited and can create opportunity for others?
Yeah, I think at least on the developer side, one of the key points for me, obviously, is the computation power. The device has very strong processors. You have an M2 and what they call is R1. The R1 chip is basically what handles all the tracking, hand tracking and everything there. The key point of this, which is really great, is to identify, is there a limit and benchmark? And the thing is, Apple is so open on conversation on conveying to them what limits and what kind of features that you would like to see. Because Apple's at a point in space where they can actually enable things through software. So it's kind of like, hey, let's get all the customer input and see what we can update over software. So that's one of the great things there. So there's a lot of just various opportunities that's there.
So you're talking about real cross-platform experiences, right?
Yes.
One of the things I learned when moving from film to VR development, being able to make cross-platform experiences for your audiences to experience, whether it's PC, VR, 2D. So I'm curious to know, how can creators leverage this opportunity, like you said, developers and creators?
Yeah, so with the developer side, the leverage there is, okay, I'm a developer. I have an opportunity to get into the Apple, store. So here's a developer tip. I've been posting this on Twitter. You can tell Siri to do things for you while you're in the headset. So I won't say it right now because she'll do it, and then I don't want her to do it. But you could tell it to, hey, go open this file, do this thing, turn this on, record, a bunch of other,
You got you an assistant.
Yeah,
in your persistent world.
And the piece that people are missing is that Apple's layer of AI is very interesting. Like, they're applying it to Siri, and you can tell they're about to take it to another tier where she can understand conversation a lot better. So you can tell her more specifically, kind of a chat GPT, a ordered list of things to do, and she can go execute and do it. And you don't have to, touch anything. You don't even, it's all voice operated. But as a developer and as a content creator, you have so much more now of an opportunity that you have people who are willing to spend money with the Apple, store.
200,000 units, right?
Yeah, so willing to spend money, and if they spent $4,000 on a headset, them spending $20-$30 on an app or a game is like nothing to them, right?
To make it worth it, right? Because you want premium experiences now.
Yes.
You're going to shell out that kind of money, right?
And people are looking. I've looked on. Maybe this is my little secret, but I've looked on Reddit, and I'm always there. You might not see me post anything, but I'm there, and I'm looking at everybody's posts on their demands, their requests, everything in there. I'm monitoring along with other people, so it's interesting that people are loving the device and they're learning the things that they would like to see. And you're seeing early on consumers who never even experienced AR, VR. This is their first time doing it. So it's like Apple's introducing to a whole new, demographic, age group, and consumers. It's interesting to see people waiting for Apple to do it versus the headsets that already have been, precursors to them and saying like, oh, Apple's the greatest, but it's always going to happen. So you can't get around that. Like, that's just how it is. But if you're a content creator, you're an entrepreneur, a developer, you're trying to make experiences or make apps, you have the opportunity to basically create any type of application that you want. The future thinking is that spatial computing is here. It's always been here. The thing with it now is you're going to have to extend the type of applications that you're doing for a person's space. What's a person's space? What is a person's day-to-day? Like, what can they actually do with the headset? A lot of people frame of thinking is like, okay, my business interactions is, I using 2D views, I update docs and do all these other things. But the thing that people are starting to see now is I can view news differently, I can watch movies differently, I can play games differently, I can interact with family and friends differently, I can travel a lot easier without the rigorous, entry, of, putting on a headset, because people can put on a Quest headset and there's so much to set up. Like, you got to create a new account, you got to there's so much friction early on. Versus if you're already in the Apple ecosystem, you're signed in, it's just, and you're there.
It was smooth, just right in.
Yeah, it's like you turn it on and then that's it. Like, you don't have to worry about, and then once you set up the headset the way you want it, then it's even more crazy at that point, because I've been, I've quick glancing over here, but, I got MacBook Pros running in the background and those guys are working while I'm in the headset, because I'm trying to prep the Vision Pro as a developer to do additional work for me. Like, I want to use the processing power that the headset has. I want the headset to work while I'm asleep. So that's kind of my ultimate goal, is how can I benchmark and push the headset to do computational things while either if I'm wearing it or not wearing it. So that, as technical as that sounds and seems for developers who may understand what I'm talking about, this is a future aspect of saying, okay, if we spent the $4,000 or $5,000, how can we make that money back?
Yeah, and I found it interesting because when I was picking up my headset, one of the headsets, I saw a young lady there. She was from the healthcare industry. So I've started to meet other people who are buying these in various industries outside of just content like storytelling, right, or game development. So that presents a lot of opportunities for this as a platform, from not only the hardware side, like you said, the technical side, but also other industries. Can you talk a little bit more about what you think this can do as a platform, creative, and then other industries as well?
So on the creative side, you have an opportunity to basically distribute your own content if you really wanted to go that route. I mean, I know there's a lot of dependencies for other platforms, Apple TV or Netflix or Amazon, and you can still use those, but those platforms are not, except for Apple because they're preparing for it, but when it comes to creating your content, you have an opportunity to basically make your own store specific to your particular content that you create. So whether it's if it's standard 2D video, whether it's 3D video, whether if you're trying to do fully immersive video, you have the opportunity to create that and create your own distribution. Which is a really big deal. And you can still piggyback off the other platforms that you're distributing on. You can still do YouTube. You can still do, whatever form of distribution that you're working on or you're trying to pitch to Netflix. But I think this gives you the backing of saying, okay, and justifying when I create this content, this is how I want to distribute the content. The one thing that Apple's kind of setting up, and passing the baton is that they want you to put your best foot forward on the highest quality because their consumers, are looking for the best quality that's out there. So you have paying customers who are willing and paid for the headset and are now waiting for the justifiable, well, how do I continuously keep using the headset? What's going to make me pick up that headset and say, man, I want to go back and check that one thing out that I saw. That's the big plus there. And then for people outside of creatives, I mean, if you're looking at, industrial, enterprise, enterprise, I think can do really well as far as workplace. Industrial enterprise, I don't think the headset was built or designed for that in the case that HoloLens 2 was designed. HoloLens 2 was designed for industrial. It had the safety mechanisms, it's durable, it was designed, you can work, on the assembly line and everything. That's where I don't foresee Apple Vision Pro being on the assembly line just because the form factor was more designed for that home, really Apple doesn't even want to label themselves as entertainment. They don't want to dedicate it there. They want to dedicate it as, a continual use device. And they're really aiming for, enterprise companies, in the office space. So they're really trying to target that. And the entertainment is just kind of an add-on. But as people who've been in a space for a long time, we know entertainment wins. That's kind of what has driven it all the way to where we are right now. We know that's the number one thing.
But lots of opportunity on the outside of that, the peripheral side of the hardware, plus also the productivity and the software, right?
Yes.
And then on the creative side, being able to think outside the box, right? Like I remember, going from filmmaking, just telling people what it looked, right? And then moving into virtual reality, right? Where I had the opportunity to sort of bring people's body into the frame, right?
Yeah.
And now you're talking about another layer to that, right? Which is, are we now moving into spatial storytelling to some other degree, right? Where now, like you said, I can have AI, I can be looking at characters, I can have gesture control, I can affect the environment and it feel more natural to my natural movement, right?
Yeah.
Or I don't have to do anything, right? Because like you said, it can sense certain things about what you're doing and where you are spatially. And I can put these stories anywhere.
Yeah.
Which is really, really, really great. And sort of opened up to new modes or new means of immersive experience.
Yeah, and one piece that's interesting, so we take a look at this room, and with spatial computing, you have the ability, so right now, the headset knows if this is a table, if that's a door, if that's the ceiling, if that's, a wall, is that the floor. It's doing all this in real time without any effort that's, provided by you. So if you're creating an experience and let's just say you wanted to redo, a crime detective TV show where the actors are walking through your actual door and they're interacting with your scene. Still the same screenwriting that you propose on what the actors should do. And then you also pre-describe how they should interact. So if you captured a real actor and they're going through the sequence of actually acting out, parts in the script, and then you as a developer going on the other side and saying, okay, whenever you go into a room, find the table, or let the user tell them what table to, have a seat. Where you're interacting with the actors. This hasn't been done before. There's been volumetric captures that has, the capturing of the actors and putting them together, but you never had that layer where you're actually controlling the narrative as a user and interacting to get through the story, where the actor can tell you yes or the actor can tell you no. It can actually, get you involved into the story.
Seamless experience.
Yes.
Well, no, man, that's great. These are great points. And like I said, I just want to encourage individuals out there who are developing, creating, don't get caught up in the fear of, AI is going to, send us into this dystopian future, because I feel like we have the opportunity to understand and get a better handle on what these technologies can do so that we can use them to build something that will have us creating an ecosystem, that can be beneficial for us all, right? So, jump into the creative economy. Remember some of the key words we just talked about, like real-time 3D skills, and, tap in.